142 criminal charges, the number the accused Colorado gunman now faces, along with the possibility of the death penalty. A little boy is left in a hot van during a summer school trip. Now his parents are up in arms. And a lot of empty seats at the Olympics, but not because people don't want to go. They say they can't get tickets.
Now, from the most watched station in Central Texas, this is KWTX News 10.
Prosecutors are leaving themselves with plenty of options in the case of accused Colorado gunman James Holmes. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Julie Hayes. Gordon Collier has the evening off. Holmes was back in court today where he was charged with 24 counts of murder. 2 for each of the 12 people killed in that rampage. 1 for murder with deliberation and the other with extreme indifference. Both carry a maximum death penalty if he is convicted. Edward Lawrence is at the courthouse with more on the other charges that Holmes could face.
James Holmes stared straight ahead as prosecutors charged him with 140 counts of murder and attempted murder.
24 counts of murder in the first degree, 116 counts of criminal attempt to commit murder in the first degree.
The courtroom was packed with family members and shooting victims still recovering from their wounds. Prosecutors say Holmes opened fire inside a Colorado movie theater, murdering 12 people and wounding 58 others.
We're not going to back down from this individual, that we're not going to let his fear take over our lives, and that we're going to stand up against him.
People at the hearing say the 24-year-old appeared subdued and at times dazed and still has the orange-dyed hair seen during his first court appearance last week. Holmes spoke just once, saying yes when the judge asked him if he understood the charges. Holmes was charged with 2 counts for each victim killed, murder with deliberation and murder with extreme indifference. He was also charged with possession of explosives after police spent a number of days dismantling devices inside his booby-trapped apartment. Holmes was reportedly seeing a psychiatrist, and the defense wants anything their client gave to his doctor kept out of evidence. Legal analysts believe Holmes' attorney will pursue an insanity defense. Mary Ellen Hansen is hoping that won't be allowed. Her niece Ashley Mosier is one of the shooting victims. The pregnant mother was paralyzed in the attack and lost her baby over the weekend.
It was very important to come today to see him as who he was. And there was a lot of anger.
Holmes is scheduled to be back in court in August. He could face the death penalty if convicted. Edward Lawrence for CBS News, Centennial, Colorado.
And 3 days after her memorial service, the family of Jessica Gowie is raising money for a scholarship in the young woman's name. The Jessica Redfield Sports Journalism Fund has been accepting donations for about a week now and raised nearly $40,000, surpassing its goal of $20,000. The San Antonio native was an aspiring sports reporter when she was killed in that shooting. If you would like information on how you can donate, you can go to our webpage at KWTX.com and click on the Find It button. Investigators say it may be a few more days before they confirm if a body found is that of a local missing man. The McLennan County Sheriff's Office says it is very likely that the body found Friday is that of 35-year-old Kirk Kirkendall of Moody. After nearly a week of searching, someone discovered a body in a wooded area near a reservoir on Shady Shores Drive in Bruce Valetti. It's close to where Kirkendall was last seen. Officials say the body was too decomposed to get a positive identification, but a preliminary autopsy should come back this week. Investigators say there were no signs of foul play. Today, there are some new reports of West Nile virus in Central Texas. There are 2 new cases in McLennan County, bringing the total amount of confirmed cases to 11. The health district says an 80-year-old McLennan County resident died from the virus. So far, no cases have been reported in Bell County. Tonight, we're learning more about the Fort Hood soldier who died over the weekend while running from police. 28-year-old Timothy Stevens died early Saturday morning. He arrived at Fort Hood back in 2006 and served 3 tours in Iraq. A police officer tried to pull over a truck that was speeding and swerving on Indian Trail Drive in Harker Heights. The truck then jumped a curb and later hit a tree on East Robin Road, causing the truck to catch fire. Stevens was pronounced dead at the scene. Police are looking for whoever stabbed a man in the parking lot of a local laundromat. It happened Friday outside of Krista's Laundry off of West Avenue M in Temple. The victim was stabbed once in the leg after a struggle with a robber. The robber then ran from the scene when others came out of the laundromat. The 27-year-old man that was stabbed was treated at Scott & White and later released. The robber is described as a tall black man who was wearing a gray hooded sweatshirt. If you know anything about this incident, please contact Temple Police. If you drive down Highway 84 or Highway 6 in McLennan County as part of your daily commute, get ready to see some construction in the area. TxDOT is starting a new project there and in Bosque County. A left turn lane will be extended on Waco Drive at Lake Air in Waco. A new right turn lane will be created on 84 at Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Also, an exit ramp will be reconstructed on Highway 6 at Spiegelville Road. More construction on Highway 6 is also happening in Bosque County. Crews say expect some delays, but they hope the project will finish in the late fall. Tomorrow, some very important runoff primary elections will finally be decided. Among them, Bell County Sheriff's Republican primary, McLennan County Tax Assessor Collector, District 25 Republican race, and Republican runoff. Most of these races, whoever wins tomorrow will then run against a Democratic candidate come November. For more information on these races, you can head over to centraltexasvotes.com. Mitt Romney is working to show his confidence on the world stage. He is making the rounds in Poland after spending the weekend in Israel. Tara Mergener has more from Washington.
Large crowds gathered to meet Mitt Romney and his wife Ann in the Polish city of Gdansk. Monday, the Republican White House hopeful sat down with former Polish president and anti-communist activist Lech Wałęsa. Through an interpreter, Wałęsa threw his support behind Romney.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your invitation, and I'm glad to be here with you.
Romney has been well received in the heavily Catholic and conservative country.
We want you to be President of the United States.
Thank you.
Romney is spending this final leg of his three-country overseas tour, meeting with several Polish leaders, including Prime Minister Donald Tusk.
The presumptive GOP nominee made waves in Israel over the weekend, talking tough about Iran's nuclear ambitions and wading into the status of Jerusalem.
It's a deeply moving experience to be in Jerusalem, the capital of Israel.
The U.S., like other nations, has its embassy in Tel Aviv and considers that city the capital.
If Mr. Romney disagrees with that position, he's also disagreeing with the position that was taken by presidents like Bill Clinton and Ronald Reagan.
The White House also called some of Romney's comments head-scratching, including remarks at a fundraiser where he told Jewish donors their culture helps them be more economically successful than the Palestinians. Tara Mergener for CBS News, Washington.
Two people trying to help victims of an early morning car accident ended up becoming victims themselves. The wreck happened at 3 this morning on I-35 outside of San Antonio. A wrong-way driver crashed into an SUV that was carrying a family of 5. A woman who saw the accident rushed toward the scene while calling for help on her cell phone. A bus driver that also saw the wreck pulled over to help as well. That is when a tanker truck driver who didn't see the first wreck plowed into the scene, killing the two Good Samaritans. The wrong-way driver from the initial accident was also killed in the second wreck. Several trees have now been planted on the Penn State campus outside of the football stadium where Joe Paterno's statue once stood. It has now been a week since the statue was removed by university maintenance crews. Penn State President Rodney Erickson yesterday said the statue was a lightning rod for controversy. The school says the statue is being held in a secure location and it is unclear what will happen to it next. Authorities in Florida are looking into how on earth a 4-year-old boy was left in a van at his martial arts summer school for almost 2 hours. No one at the school noticed the boy was missing until his mother came to pick him up. His parents thought the boy had been kidnapped until a camp employee found the boy sleeping in a van. He was okay, but his parents are still fuming.
How could you not notice that one of your youngest campers is missing? It's beyond negligent, you know?
Investigators say 2 employees at the school that were in charge of counting the kids apparently counted wrong. Coming up, the Olympic Games are well underway in London. When we come back, we'll take a look at the ticket situation at the Summer Games.
And of course, we hit triple digits once again today, but will we stay in the triple digits for the week ahead? We'll talk about that coming up in just a bit.
You're watching KWTX News 10, the station for breaking news with Gordon Collier, Julie Hayes, and Rusty Garrett.
Right now we have some breaking news we want to pass along to you. A Central Texas mayor that was arrested and charged with sexual assault has stepped down from his position at a local school district. Charlie Stewart Sr., the Nolanville mayor, submitted his resignation today to Killeen ISD. He worked for the school district as a campus technologist at Manor Middle School. Killeen ISD officials told News 10 it was accepted and is effective immediately. Stewart has been charged with sexual assault coming from several reported incidents involving a 12-year-old girl. He remains in the Bell County Jail. Olympic athletes are in their 3rd full day of competition at venues across the British capital. But some sports fans are fuming because they just can't get tickets to go watch. Monica Villamizar reports from London.
Different strategy. Team USA is making huge waves at the Olympics. Athletes are smashing world records and bringing home gold.
Let's go USA! Yeah, #1!
But there have been disappointments. American gold medal favorite Jordan Weber left the floor in tears after failing to qualify. The games are running smoothly, but Olympic organizers are being criticized for letting hundreds of stadium seats sit empty.
If people aren't using those seats, by all means, let us in.
British officials even drafted in soldiers to fill the gaps. They say the tickets were mostly for Olympic officials and athletes' families and friends who only stay for a short time. Organizers are now saying that some of those 3,000 tickets will be available for some of the popular events like swimming and gymnastics. But there is a catch. These will only be sold online and only to British residents.
So we've been waiting outside asking people for tickets if they have extras, and we haven't been able to buy any.
The American swimmers still draw big crowds, but the French took revenge on the U.S. men's relay team, giving Michael Phelps his first ever silver medal. The world champion swam stronger than the night before when he didn't even place. Getting to the games is proving to be less of a challenge than expected. And in the first rush hour since the Olympics began, there were no major hurdles. Monica Villamizar, CBS News, London.
Coming up, Ben Walnick will take a look at the forecast for the rest of the week. And later, as a drought now covers almost 60% of the nation, we'll show you one farmer that's turning dust into gold. Stay tuned.
News 10 weather brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Home of the Truck of Texas. Ford is the best in Texas. Drive the Truck of Texas today at your best in Texas Ford dealer.
Taking a look at Skycam 10 over Waco, and it is hard to find a cloud out there. And unfortunately, this time of year, that's not exactly good news because it means we're going to have extreme heat. Taking a look at high temperature for today, official high at the Waco Airport, 101. Still 7 degrees short of that record of 108 set back in 1957. 3 degrees above normal of 98. Low today, 75, right on par with normal and nowhere near the record of 63 set back in 1984. So comparing this day to this day last year, July 30th last year, also hitting 101 and was day 48 above 100 degrees, 35 days short this year at only 13. And haven't seen any rainfall here in the past few weeks. And remember, last year in July, we saw very little rainfall, less than 1/10 of an inch for the entire month. Current temperatures running in the triple digits for much of central Texas, although there's a nice little split here, the northwestern half of the area, right at 100 up to 102. Hamilton, Corsicana 102, Llano at 102 at this time. 99 in Temple, 99 in Killeen, and even a little bit less hot as you head to the southeast. Hearn at 97, Bryan College Station at 98. Add in that humidity though, and it feels above 100 for almost everybody. In fact, it feels like 105 in Waco, 104 in Killeen. That number I saw earlier today as high as 107. So this is definitely that dangerous type of heat. Hopefully, if you're having to be outside during the peak heating during the day, you're taking frequent breaks and definitely staying hydrated. Taking a look at those wind speeds, right around 5 to 10 miles per hour. A few spots a little bit more breezy than that. Corsicana at 12, Georgetown at 14 miles per hour. Mainly out of the south and southeast, and that should continue. In fact, winds should die down just a little bit as we head into the overnight hours. Your hour-by-hour forecast, 99 still around 7 o'clock, 94 at 9 o'clock, dropping into the upper 80s by around 11. South winds at 5 to 10, and we should continue to see mostly clear skies across central Texas. It will definitely continue to be warm even through the evening. Clouds and radar, you can kind of see that clockwise circulation with the clouds and showers well off to our northeast and off to our west. That's because of this ridge of high pressure that we have in place. That's why we see the clockwise movement of those clouds. And this time of year, when we get that high pressure right over central Texas, North Texas, and Oklahoma, it means we're going to see that triple-digit heat. And it doesn't look like that's going to move too much here in the next several days, although hopefully by the end of the week, going to take a little bit of a shift to the west towards the desert southwest that may allow our temperatures to drop just a degree or two, but unfortunately not much relief in sight. Your timecast as we head through the next several days, not really much to see here. South winds around 5 to 10, maybe up to 15 miles per hour, mostly sunny skies, and we will continue to see the heat across our area. But we're having a fairly normal year. If we look at the month-by-month breakdown for those triple-digit days, not really supposed to see much in May, As far as June, we saw 5, which is above average of 2, but for July, we'll be pretty close to average with 8 days by tomorrow. The average is just over 8.5, and August, unfortunately, is the hottest month. We'll average about 12 days above 100, but we should be pretty close to average about 20 to 30 days above 100 degrees. 75 to 78 tonight, south winds at 5 to 10. Another triple-digit day tomorrow, 99 to 103. Those heat index values above 105 at times, and more triple digits in the 7-day forecast, keeping it right around 102 to 101 as we head through the next several days. And we'll continue to see the triple digits, I think, into the weekend, although I wouldn't be surprised if there was maybe a day where we hit 99 degrees. But as of right now, we'll just go ahead and go triple digits across the board. I think it's a pretty safe
Yeah.
forecast.
I mean, really, what's the difference in 99 and 100?
Especially with the humidity, there's not much.
Oh, I know. It's brutal.
It is.
All right. Thanks, Ben. Well, the worst drought in decades now covers 2/3 of the United States, and forecasters think the dry conditions will linger well into the fall. Karen Brown is traveling across the nation investigating the impact. Starting in the parched farmland of the Texas Panhandle, she discovered one happy crop that is thriving in the heat.
Here in the Texas Panhandle, Cliff Bingham is turning dust into gold.
Those are ready.
The drought has sucked the life out of most crops, but the Bingham family farm is a bright spot.
How good is your crop this year?
Fantastic this year. We've got the quality and the quantity.
Bingham is growing grapes. They can tolerate drought. In fact, the heat makes them sweeter. They're so profitable, Bingham uses most of his water for his vineyards, leaving the cotton crop to survive on rain.
So you can make 10 times more off of these grapes than your cotton with the same amount of water.
Correct.
In fact, farmers doubt they'll make any profit on cotton this year.
It is, in a word, finished.
On Jason Coleman's farm, the plants are small and the flowers on top, a bad sign.
They've waved the white flag of surrender. They're done, and it's finished.
Analysts say Texas farmers will likely abandon 1/3 of the cotton crop because of drought damage. For most, grapes aren't an option. Starting up costs about $10,000 per acre, and they take 5 years to become productive.
Bless the harvest.
The Binghams have 11 children and risk their savings diversifying into grapes. Now it's paying off, making fine wine and happy memories until the rains bring better times. Karen Brown, CBS News, Meadow, Texas.
We're back in a moment.
Covering all of Central Texas, this is KWTX News 10 on your side.
Sponsored by the Atrium of Belmead Nursing and Rehab Center.
The risk and benefits of using PSA tests to screen men for prostate cancer has been debated for years. Now a new study is putting the controversy back in the spotlight. Ines Ferre reports.
54-year-old Dick Hogue is a prostate cancer survivor. Doctors confirmed and treated the disease after they saw a rise in his PSA level.
I am, completely clean and feel great and fortunate that we found it, early, and we took care of it.
Using the PSA to screen for prostate cancer remains controversial. Now a new study says many more men could develop advanced cases of cancer if doctors did away with the blood test.
If we stop screening and if we stop treating those cancers that we feel are a threat to men, then what this study says, we're going to see 3 times the likelihood that men will develop metastatic prostate cancer.
The study published in the journal Cancer suggests that PSA and early detection could help prevent the spread of cancer to other parts of the body in up to 17,000 men.
A federal task force recently recommended against routine PSA tests, saying that there is little to no benefit to them and that the screening leads to more tests and treatment that can be unnecessary and harmful.
Doctors saw a spike in 62-year-old David Ornis's PSA last month. The biopsy came back negative.
It's not a benign procedure by any means, but it's still worth it to know that you have or don't have cancer.
Ornis says he wouldn't have done anything differently, and he will keep getting his PSA checked. Ines Ferre for CBS News, New York.
Well, as if we need a reason to have an extra dessert, today is National Cheesecake Day, and there's a correlation with the Olympics. We're going to tell you about it when we come back.
pretty hot. I guess I could say that pretty much every time we
Yeah.
come back from break and talk about the 7-day forecast. 102, 101, 100, not much difference there, staying with mostly sunny skies. Hopefully we're seeing a little bit of a less hot trend with that high pressure that's centered right over us, shifting towards Arizona, New Mexico, giving us, I guess you can call it relief with highs at 100 rather than 102 and 103. But this time of year is the hottest stretch of year. I saw Brady post on Facebook earlier. The average temperatures are hottest from now until about the middle of August. So once we get past that, hopefully we'll start getting closer to fall.
Yeah, these are usually when we see all the 100 degrees in a row, so not too unusual. Okay, well, Ben, get excited because today is National Cheesecake Day. Yay! The creamy sweet goodness has a connection to the Olympics. It was thought to actually be a good source of energy in ancient Greece and first served to Olympians in 776 BC.
Wow.
That's a long time ago. But the dessert that we all know and love is cheesecake. The stuff with cream cheese actually got its start in New York back in the 1870s.
Yum.
Happy Cheesecake Day, everyone.
I want some.
See you at 6.